Welcome everybody to the very first Physikal podcast. I have to say, podcasting was not something that I thought I would be getting into anytime in the near future, but I have been realizing that there are so many amazing women that are a part of the Physikal community, and essentially I really wanted to be able to share some of these stories with everybody so that we can build a community, share our journeys together. And so this is where we're starting today. Please be nice to me. This is my first time doing this. So look, we'll see where we land. But I would love to introduce our first guest, Laura, my beautiful friend.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome. So, a little bit about Laura, I guess. So, Laura is a touch fanatic. I would say you've been playing your whole entire life and at pretty high standards, if I do say so myself. You've also dabbled in rugby sevens and played for the Reds for a little stint there, which is awesome. Through your uni studies, you did exercise physiology, which I think will work in a little bit of credibility to what we're going to talk about today, which is your journey to your upcoming half marathon.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
What on earth made you want to do that, firstly?
Well, I think it was as you get older, your body starts to not be as speedy or as fast. So trying to think about, maybe we got to do an endurance event. So I dabbled in a 10K in a triathlon in Kingscliff and thought, look, maybe we're going to test the boundaries a little bit, test the body and have a go at something a little bit more challenging. So decided to rally the friends, get a little support crew and sign up for the GC half marathon.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, this is crazy though, because I think if you think of younger us, we could not have imagined running distance, let alone a half marathon.
No, 5K, upper minimum, like max distance, and that was challenging enough. So I definitely think as you get older though, you don't really have a choice with speed so much anymore. So to challenge yourself with a little bit of distance is definitely the next thing.
Yeah. And I think for you as well, right, through touch mainly, you've had a few knee blowouts.
Oh yeah.
So would you say that's potentially also, I mean, you're still playing touch obviously, but is it running and endurance, I guess, is a little bit lighter?
I think so. And I think it was more based on the fact that I can do it now. So why not do it? Like you never know what my body particularly is going to give me in the next 5 to 10 years. So it's capable now. So I'm like, let's challenge the body. Let's give it a go. And yeah, hopefully tick it off the bucket list. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Right. And anyway, it's coming up next weekend, right?
Yes, we might be preempting the celebrations
before even finishing it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we just got to get across the finish line. That's the main goal of the event. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So what has your training and preparation looked like? How far out did you start preparing for this? And I guess, talk us through your training schedule week to week.
When did we really talk about this?
I
think that's when it became real for me, is when
Was it?
Yeah, when I chatted to you and a couple of other people. I said, look, let's do the half marathon. Let's sign up to something and give, like, I guess I was really enjoying running and, enjoying the slower, longer runs. And I thought, how do I keep this going? Let's sign up to an event. Okay. And I think that's when I got in touch with you and a few other people being like, let's make this a real deal, a real thing. So probably in the lead up, we've been doing one long, slow, steady run a week, really focusing on heart rate and maintaining that low aerobic heart rate.
And what does long look like?
Long for me is probably anywhere over 45 minutes.
Okay.
So, at least 10 kilometers or 8 kilometers to 12, 15 kilometers. I haven't done 15 yet, so pray for me.
Yeah, that's okay. And you mentioned heart rate as well. So is there a certain range that should be staying within?
For sure, and that's completely age dependent. Okay. I mean, if the older you get, the lower that aerobic heart rate is, and then the younger you are, obviously you can push that heart rate a little bit more. I think mine's something around 56 or something like that, which is actually pretty low when you think about running. So
Yeah.
it takes some time to build up some pace, keeping that low heart rate. Like
Yeah.
when you start out, you think, oh my gosh, am I just walking, maintaining this heart rate? So it's all about patience and trusting the process a little bit.
Yeah. Cool.
But definitely an important part of the lead up to the GC is that really long, slow, steady run.
Okay.
But
so
I've been
that's-
enjoying that, yeah.
Yeah, and that's once a week?
Once a week.
And then what else?
And then definitely trying to do some more anaerobic or lactate training. So that's that where you're getting that heart rate up and you're working that lactate buffering a little bit more. And that looks more like intervals or intervals on the bike if you don't want to hit the pavement every week, which, you know, these old lady knees kind of don't love. But yeah, so getting that heart rate up a little bit more and working that lactate buffering system.
So what could a session that is for that look like?
Yeah, so intervals basically.
So are we talking 200s, longer intervals?
Long intervals probably.
Yeah.
So more of that like 1K kind of
Okay.
interval, running at what you would like to see your race pace at. So
Okay.
or a little bit faster. And then maybe a walk or a light jog in your rest interval. So that one really tests the old ticker.
Okay, definitely.
And definitely not my favorite
No.
like training session of the week. And then I've been doing one run also if I'm getting that third run in a week, one run at a race pace. So that might be like more of that 5 to 8 kilometer run and trying to push that race pace a little bit. And then coupling a little bit of resistance training in there as well, because, you know, trying to keep the niggles at bay and build the resilience of the body so that we can withstand the training a little bit more, because like I said, old lady body needs a little bit of help.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything that anyone needs to watch out for, I guess, in terms of endurance training? Like, do you see any kind of common injuries or anything like that resulting from this?
Definitely overload.
Okay.
So I think if you've never done an endurance event before and you think, oh yeah, let's run a 21 kilometer race, it's really important to build your tolerance to your training. So you're not just going to go out there and be like, I've never ran over 10 kilometers before, I'm going to do 15 today. Which is really hard because you can get excited and you feel good. But if you're constantly loading at a level that's above your capacity is when you're starting to run into all those tendon loading and stress injuries. So it's important to build your base, start slow, do the boring stuff right, do it first, and really, build from there, because you're in it for the long run. You're not in it for a sprint.
Yeah.
So it's important to make sure that you're doing the hard stuff before you can do the glory of crossing the finish line.
That's fair. Now, I want to just call you out here for being a little bit contradictory.
Yeah,
so
I thought
what
this was gonna happen.
What did you go and do recently?
Yeah, so I'd just like to preface this by saying, do as I say and not as I do. Because we may have accidentally done a marathon after training at a capacity of 12 kilometres. So
to clarify, you had not run over 12 kilometres.
That would be correct.
And the other week you decided to go out and run a marathon.
Yes. Silly.
Why?
Well,
how did this come about?
Yes. Well, my partner and his group of friends were all training for a marathon. So they were doing the hard stuff.
Yeah.
And I was support crew.
Okay.
And one of the friends pulled out kind of last kind of minute. The tag was sitting on the bench and I thought, this is a good training run for me. I'm going to run the longest run I'd done. I might try for 15 kilometres. So I'll start with everyone. I'll do 2 of the 10K loops, maybe try and get to 20 kilometres. And that will be a really good training session for the upcoming GC marathon. Like, that's going to be great. Halfway in, I thought, stuff it, I'm going to do it. I can't stop now. I'm not putting myself through 30 kilometres to finish at 30 kilometres. I'm going to do the whole deal.
Oh, gosh.
So, definitely was one of the hardest things that we've done mentally. And
I was going to say, so talk me through that, given that I personally get bored running anywhere once it starts getting to 15 kilometers. I think for me, at least, that's where the mental game starts to kick in. And I think almost, it's about tricking yourself as well.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
as soon as you notice that it's getting a bit hard or you're getting a bit bored or whatever that the negative headspace is that you start to get into. I mean, that's where I start to get at around 15 kilometers.
Yep.
You had only run 12
Yep.
prior to that. So what was the mental game like throughout this?
I guess many novice or beginner marathon runners have never run a marathon before. In the training, you might get to 30, 35 kilometers and say, cool, the last 5 kilometers on the day should be a given. So when I was running with a friend and we ran 13 kilometers. I'm like, well, now I'm in no man's land. I've never done this before.
Yeah.
So it was all about the unknown. And I just kept kind of thinking, let's just put one foot in front of the other. Let's just keep going until I can't go anymore. And I guess I never gave myself a way out. I never said, you're going to stop. I just kind of thought, once I've committed to doing it, so once I'd passed that 20 kilometers and thought, stuff it, I'm going to do it, I never really gave myself the option to stop. I kind of just thought, let's just keep going, just find a way, get it done, put one foot in front of the other, and the finish line will come eventually.
Okay.
So I kind of just kept myself distracted, not thinking about not doing it or the pain my body was in or how much I didn't want to do it, but more the fact that we were going to do it. How can I do it? How can I finish it? Just keep going.
That mindset.
Yeah. And I think if you kind of started to negatively self-talk and be like, I'm sore, I've got really bad blisters, like I can't pick
Yeah, and
up
that
my
was all
feet.
happening as well, right? This was
100%.
painful.
Oh yeah, I'd popped a massive blister in the side of my arch probably 7 kilometers into the race. So
No.
there was a lot of raw skin getting rubbed around and I mean, I hadn't prepared for the event at all. Like sockets were on, the watch wasn't charged.
Okay.
I was in a name tag saying Matt, so everyone cheering for me was go Matt, go Matt. So that was entertaining. That might have kept me going for a couple of kilometers, but mostly just thinking not about what was happening or how much pain my body was in, but the fact that it was a pretty cool thing to get done. So I was like, let's just do it. Let's just finish it, tick it off the bucket list and never ever have to do it again. And then when I passed the 20 kilometer mark, I'm like, well, this is a good sign for the GC half marathon.
Yeah.
Should mean that we can do it, right?
Should mean that.
Should mean that. Went for a 5 kilometer run a week later and thought that was harder than the marathon. So.
Oh gosh, really?
Really?
You probably hadn't recovered though.
Well, I'd like to think so.
All right.
That's what I'm telling myself. But yeah, don't recommend that for any of our listeners out there. Just please train.
Please train, definitely.
Please run more than 12 kilometers.
Yeah. And you mentioned about the sockets as well. I did just want to see, what were you wearing that day? Is the outfit and the activewear that, you're wearing important to run, I guess, a distance?
I think so. Definitely. I mean, I had long tights on to start with, which is I'd never run in long tights before ever. I thought this will keep me warm as a spectator.
Yeah.
A little bit too warm as a participant in the event.
Of course.
But I think definitely being comfortable in your attire is important to kind of just having one less distraction. One less thing to think about, one less thing to have complaints about in your mind, even if you don't believe in them. But definitely being comfortable in your run is just one less thing. Less thing. So
probably don't pull out a new outfit on the day of not having trialed it.
Yes, particularly with long events, the chafing and blisters is a real unglamorous side effect of finishing. But yeah, no, definitely have your outfit prepared.
Yeah, okay.
Have your race outfit. Something that you feel good in.
What would be your top 3 tips for anybody who's looking to run a half marathon or an endurance race?
Definitely, I know this sounds hypocritical, but have a training plan.
Yeah.
Make sure that you feel confident in your training plan. That's just going to mitigate the risk of injury and overuse and I guess give you confidence in completing the event. Have a support crew, have a team to rally around you. I mean, we had a great team at the marathon that kind of you just wanted to keep doing laps to run past them and get that little bit of energy from the crowd. And make sure your nutrition is up to scratch. Make sure that you you've got your gels. It's super important in endurance events to keep your nutrition up. So whether you go, seek nutrition advice from a dietitian or a nutritionist, but I know that without having that little bit of carbohydrate during your race or even pre-race, it makes it a lot harder. So definitely, those 3 things I think are going to hold you in good stead for hopefully finishing an endurance event.
Yeah, awesome. Those are fantastic tips. And I know you said at the start of the conversation, the goal is to finish. Knowing how competitive you are as an individual, is that the goal?
Definitely, I wouldn't be sad if, okay, all right, you've got
Be
me.
real with me.
I think given first half marathon, I would really love to get under 2 hours. That's the goal, probably.
Perfect.
But if we come into trouble and we just finished the event, then I'm not going to be hard on myself. I think that's pretty cool as well, to finish a half marathon after never doing one before. So I guess 2 hours would be like the icing on top of the cake.
I reckon you can do it.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think if anyone's going to do it, you're going to do it.
Hopefully the blisters won't reopen.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully not. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. Very first podcast. I think we did all right, personally.
It was fun.
Yeah, great. I'm glad. I have a little gift for you as well.
Oh.
Just to say thank you for coming. So it's your little...
Do we open it now?
Oh, it's up to you.
Let's do it.
Okay, sure.
It's like the unveiling.
The unveiling.
Oh my God.
So it's just a Physikal tank top.
A Physikal tank top.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah. So that one actually is about our brand's mission, which is to break the mold. So that's why we've got all of the kind of cracks through there, and we've got a little mold of the female body. So yeah.
Very proud of you. Very proud of this little brand.
Thanks, gal. All right. Are we done?